That was so fantastic. Thank you so much, Angie and Don, members of Hope Community Presbyterian Church, ladies and gentlemen, so we're so proud. Our concert this afternoon celebrates this building's 100 years of dedicated use as a place of worship and a community resource. As the dedication literature of 100 years ago said, so now everybody can hear me, should I start over? Because I had a lot of good things to say. Our shepherdess being here. But anyway, this afternoon, 100 years of dedicated service. And 100 years ago, in the dedication literature, it said, "This is a conspicuous gathering place for the city of Virginia, one in which we can be justifiably proud." And well, we are justifiably proud to have Amy Szumal and Vicki Gornick here today to play our refurbished 100-year-old 1923 Bennett organ. And I want you to make point of reading their bios in the program that you have today. And so, without further ado, are we ready? Okay. Without further ado, please welcome United in Christ Lutheran Church of Eveless organist, Amy Szumal. So Amy.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon to play for this recital. Thank you to Pastor Wendy Christianson and Sue Stevenson for inviting me to play. I am going to start out with two selections. The first one is called A Grand March by William Stickles. This is typically a postlude piece, but it is a great piece to open up an organ recital with. My second piece is four selections by the composer Gordon Young. Gordon Young lived from 1919 to 1998. In October of this year, it will be the 25th anniversary of his death. He wrote many, many pieces for organ. His works were introduced to me by Vicki Gornick, and so I really enjoy his music. And these four selections, they're not from a larger work. They are actually pieces from collections by Gordon Young that I have selected. They work really, really well together. They complement each other. And so by the time I'm done, it almost sounds like they could be one large work. It starts out with a canzona, which is a song. The second piece is an air, which is a 16th century English tune with a lute accompaniment. Now, I'm not a lute player, but the upper voices of the organ serve as the melody, while the lower voices serve as the accompaniment. The third piece is a prelude on Franck motif. This is based on an organ work by César Franck titled Cantabile in the key of B major. The last piece of these four selections is a Bacchiana. It is a fast, rhythmic closer to the other selections, and it makes me think of playing pieces by Johann Sebastian Bach. Please enjoy these selections. two selections. The first one is a piece called Andante Religioso by Louis Vienne. Vienne was a French organist. And Andante Religioso, andante is a tempo marking in music. It means walking. And obviously we know what religioso means, sacred. In this piece, my marking in my book says simply and with devotion. So I listened to some recordings about it, thought to myself, andante maybe is a little bit too quickly. I took more of the simple and with devotion, slowed my tempo down, made it a more prayerful or reflective piece of music. My last selection is a piece by David German called Festive Trumpet Tune. David German is still a living composer. He's an organist in North Carolina. And this piece I first performed in 2021 on an Organs in Review recital. This piece has kind of a special place in my heart. I had an opportunity to hear this piece performed in Rothenburg, Germany in 2016. I was there with a group of music students from all over Minnesota, band and choir, and I had some free time and found that there was an organ recital happening at St. James Church there. So I had just a wonderful opportunity to hear this. Bought this piece of music, looked at it, decided it was too hard at the time, set it aside, put it in a drawer, was looking for music for my 2021 Organs in Review recital, and thought, now's the perfect time to learn it. So when I have a chance to perform this, I do, and I'm so happy to be able to perform it today. So thank you so much. After my portion of the recital is completed, I will make room for Vicki Gornick to be at the organ. So thank you so much.
If we had time for an encore, we'd have one, but thank you so much, Amy. And Amy would come over, and she and Vicki, and figure out what stops to you, so they put a lot of time and energy into this marvelous, marvelous concert. So we so appreciate it. Thank you. Well, as mentioned earlier, this sanctuary is a community resource for the area. And one of our missions is right out front, we have a little free food pantry. And if you'll notice, the Mesabi Community College, Our Saviors has one as well. And if you look, both of them are designed specifically for our churches. Our little food pantry matches our profile. And if you go to Our Saviors and look at theirs, it matches Our Savior's Lutheran profile. So it was truly a community effort for our little free pantry. And the collection that we will take up today will go towards the buying the food to fill that little free pantry, of which you are all welcome. If you want to donate some food, just go and put it right in the pantry. And people know about it and use it quite frequently. So the money that we will collect today in our passing the hat, and so Judy, where is our Judy? There you are. She's going to gather her gang, and we have 4 hats here in front, and the gang is we're going to pass the hat. So as they are doing that, we really appreciate that, and that's where the money will be going today, is for our little free pantry. And while that is happening, I'd again like to thank Dawn and Angie, Amy, and Vicki for sharing their musical expertise with us today. Because your willingness to play provides our congregation with a perfect way to celebrate our sanctuary's centennial. And now, in so doing that, I would like to ask the Mayor of Virginia, Larry Cuffey Jr., and Reverend Wendy to please come forward here. They, at the City Council last month, April 11th, a proclamation was read, and we are going to officially present it today to our congregation. So I'll get my camera ready, and Mayor Cuffey will read the proclamation and then present the proclamation to Reverend Wendy. So they're making their way up here. Excellent, there they come. Thank you. So I'll just have you go ahead and read into the mic. I'll hold your program because I didn't get one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be here today. This is really a milestone for all of you, the whole congregation. The church being celebrating its centennial is 100 years old. I was talking to Tom in the back, and he said, actually, your whole congregation is 130 years old when all the churches came together for this one congregation. And this is a sanctuary, a true sanctuary. The architecture here is just stunning. And the music was just moving and passionate, and thank you so much for inviting me for that. And you have a gift here. You have a congregation that's gathered here today, and you have an opportunity to stay with your people, to listen. And thank you, Wendy, Reverend Christianson, and Sue for inviting me to this program. I mean, it's just amazing to me to be here, and it's really heartwarming and moving for me. Really, it really is. So on behalf of the congregation, Reverend Christianson, Sue, thank you for organizing this thing. I would like to present to this proclamation to the congregation. And I would like to read it if I may.
Thank
you. Reverend Christianson, members of the congregation. April 23rd, 2023 marks the 100th year of this historic building in Virginia, a true centennial. And 130 years ago, this red brick landmark became home to the first congregation organized in Virginia. Amazing. And whereas this building represents a cornerstone of our community with the St. Louis County Courthouse on one corner, our Virginia Library on another corner, and the new North Star Elementary School on the other corner, the centerpiece of the city of Virginia. And whereas it is one of the most conspicuous gatherings, as indicated by Reverend Christianson, one of the most conspicuous gatherings in the city of Virginia, and one in which Virginia may take justifiable pride. And I must say, on behalf of the city of Virginia, all the citizens of Virginia, the city council, all the elected officials, and every citizen in this room, you got to be very proud of this organization, very proud of this building. And I thank you very much for the opportunity. I wish you all the very best. And I just want to say thank you for the invitation once again. And the music is just absolutely phenomenal. So thank you very much, everybody. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We had a grand worship service this morning, complete with bagpipes. That's our Presbyterian heritage tradition. And we also had our catered luncheon. And thanks to the Sanctuary Centennial Committee. And of those of you who are here, would you please stand? As chair of the committee, I'd like the members to stand and be recognized. Sylvia Chad, Judy and Claude Erickson, Padge and Stephanie Falkowski, and stay standing, please. Jackie Anderson, Priscilla White, Carolyn Olson, Georgia Day, Angie Cantlin, John Pearsall, Pastor Wendy, and our honorary member, Bill 101 we call him, Bill Ewens. Please give them a round of appreciation. Thank you. So wonderful. Judy, are all the hats accounted for? They are. All right, excellent. Thank you. So now it's time for Vicki Gornick to tickle the keys. Are you ready? All right. Tickle the keys of our 1923 Bennett organ. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Vicki Gornick.
Thank you so much for your warm welcome. It's great to be back here. This is actually my third time playing here. The first time was in 2019 for the rededication of the organ, and I played a little, very short concert for that. And then in 2019, the day before we shut down for COVID, I was here with, I had disinfectant and I had a roll of toilet paper. If you remember that, so bad. And yeah. And we all survived, thank God. Anyway, this is my third time. It's really an honor to be invited to play for this very momentous occasion. I'd like to thank Pastor Wendy Christianson and Sue Stevens and everyone else involved with getting this all together and inviting Amy and myself to come and play. Amy studied with me for a good 3 years. She actually had 2 scholarships from Organs in Review. And you know, if you don't play piano or organ, you don't know that it is totally different. Someone said to me this morning at Blessed Sacrament, oh, you play the piano, you just play the organ. And I said, I don't think so. It's a completely different technique, completely different. And I've heard people who play the piano and then they play the organ, and it's kind of choppy. It's a whole different technique when you play organ. And I have to say, Amy still can play the piano, but Amy's an organist, so that's a real compliment to her. She's a real organist, and I'm really proud of her. So it's really nice to be able to share this concert with her today. Anyway, getting to my music, I chose some pieces. We were, about a half an hour's worth. I thought I'd try to be somewhat serious. And then I threw in Bohemian Rhapsody, so you'll probably like that. The first piece I'm playing is Mozart's Gloria from the 12th Mass. It's Mozart, and my Blessed Sacrament choir sings this piece, and I was really in the mood for them to sing it this morning, so they did it during communion. And it's sung in Latin, of course, and it's I think it carries well as just an organ solo too, so I hope you like that. And then the next three pieces are by my Facebook friend, John Banky. He taught at, he just recently retired from Concordia College in Mequon, Wisconsin, and we got to be Facebook friends because one of my former organ students from Hibbing, Emily Palmer, Pastor Palmer's daughter, went to school there, and I was playing a lot of his music. I've been playing a lot of his music for years, and here he was one of her instructors. So we became friends. I messaged him that I had been juggling three pieces to play for this concert, and he said, well, let me know which one, and I wrote to him the other day, and I said, I'm just doing all three, and he said, oh, the trifecta, and I said, yeah, that's fine, but I like his music. It's really, his arrangements of hymns are, the arrangements are really fresh and different, and even somewhat dissonant sometimes, but I think they're very colorful, and I really enjoy playing them. And then and you can probably hold your applause till the end of those three pieces. That would be fine. And then the song after that, which is called Peace by Karen Beaumont. She was born in, well, she's 10 years younger than me. She's an active organist and composer and teacher in the Milwaukee area. And I was doing a little research on her, and she's a former student of John Banky. So I messaged him again. I said, well, I'm playing a piece by one of your students too. Put a heart by it. So anyway, that's the first part of my program. I'll talk about the other two pieces after. But I enjoy playing this organ, and it's good to be here, and thanks again for having me. Thank you. The next piece on the program is, of course, the ever-popular Bohemian Rhapsody. I love it. It's so much fun to play on a pipe organ, you can't even imagine. There were some tricky parts, that guitar solo. I had to write fingerings in and practice it. Trust me, it wasn't that easy, but it's just trying to channel Freddie Mercury. Anyway, just to mention this, I think it's one of the most creative pieces of rock music ever written. It has 6 completely different sections, like a rhapsody would have. There's an introduction, a ballad segment, a guitar solo, an operatic part, a hard rock part, and a reflective coda at the end. It's been called a very progressive rock classic and an absolute masterpiece of 20th century music. And you know what? I have to agree. That's all I have to say. After that, I will play The Great Gate of Kiev, Kiev Processional. This is, I should mention, I have a dear organist friend in Kiev, Ukraine. Volodymyr Koshuba was on the range twice a few years ago. He played at 2 different times. He played concerts at Blessed Sacrament in Hibbing, and we become friends. He lives in Ukraine, in Kiev, with his wife, Svetlana, and his daughter Victoria is also a world-class organist living in Gdansk, Poland. When this whole conflict started over there, this terrible war, he messaged me. We've been messaging. We message every day, and I often will just send him something like, "Are you okay?" You know, just to make sure they're okay. And he told me that at the beginning of this conflict, he and his wife were on the main floors of their home during the day, but they slept in the basement. He has a beautiful grand piano and a large church organ in his home. And I asked him if he was practicing, and he said, "No, I'm going to start crying. The stress is too great." And he couldn't practice. So it was very hard for him. And sorry. His daughter, Victoria, he told me that the daughter called from Poland and was crying on the phone, and you know, come to Poland, come and stay here with me, it's safer. And they said, "No way, we're staying." You know, they're very strong, and they will not leave that house. And it's just so tragic. He had sent me, I actually brought it with me, I won't play it, but he sent me music for the Ukrainian national anthem, which I just received on Facebook Messenger. So I've told this story before. I ran up to my computer room and printed it off, and then I went back in my studio and I learned it. And the next day I went to Hibbing High School and recorded it. And the band director at Hibbing High School saw this on Facebook and invited me to come and play it with their high school band, the Hibbing High School band, which I did. And it's somewhere floating around. If you look at my Facebook page or somewhere, it's out there. And it's just so strong and moving, as is this Kiev processional. There are gates in Kiev, and I guess it's pretty impressive. Volodymyr sends to me every single day a video. There's a guy that goes around Kiev. He must have one of those cameras on his head or something, but he walks around Kiev, and he walks by shops, and you see people in nice coats and nice boots, and there's coffee shops and restaurants, and they're driving nice cars, and it's clean and modern, and it's you can't even believe what a beautiful city. I've never been there, but I've really learned to experience it through these videos that Volodymyr sends me. So I feel a pretty strong attachment to this whole thing happening over there. It's just extremely tragic. But they are in their home, and they're okay, and he sent me a video today, so I know he's okay. He's hoping to get a visa to come back to the States when all of this is done. Of course, I'm invited over there to stay with them when this is done. He says, "You have to see Kiev." And he wants to get a visa and come back here and do some organ concerts and send the proceeds to the Ukrainian army. So it's quite sad and tragic. Anyway, sorry about that, but there it is. On a lighter note, Bohemian Rhapsody. Thank you.